Alright, that's it. I'm climbing back up there and beating that dude to a- Ow! You know what? Scratch that. Can't you just, break some more rubrium? No, that was my last piece. Dang it. How are we gonna get back up? Wait, I got it. You do? Okay, so I'm gonna need to rip out your intestines real quick. But no, dude, stop it! What? I was gonna tie them together to make a rope. But then I would be dead. Look, we're all making sacrifices here, okay? Alright, just make sure you put them on ice when you're done. You know what? You're right. Let's not do Deathland. Dang it, I really wanted to. You want to go back to talking about Battle Royale games? Absolutely not. Let's discuss literally anything else. Alright then, start us off. Did you know there are 14 different ways to kill someone with a spoon? Really? Well, technically 13, because I killed 2 at once. And we're going back to talking about Battle Royales. YOLO, it's Yeshio, welcome back to another video, where today we're going to be listing and ranking every weapon in Apex Legends. Wait, so that's it? We're just gonna stand here and wait for something to happen? I mean, you got a better plan? Yes? One that doesn't include removing my vital organs? No. I've been playing a lot of Apex recently, probably more than I actually should be playing. But I mean, how could you help it? It's a great game. I gotta win. I gotta become the Apex champion. I gotta be the very best like no one ever was. But you can only play so many rounds of the same game before you start to figure out which guns are really good and which are really not good. So without further ado, let's rank all the weapons in Apex Legends on one of those weird tier list things everyone is doing. Those are still relevant, right? Oh yeah, and before I begin, I need to ado a little more and point out that this list is not only completely devoid of facts and 100% reliant on my personal opinion, but also that said opinion is terrible. So don't take it too seriously. In fact, just in the time it took me to gather all the footage for this video, my opinions have already completely changed. I should probably reorder the entire list, but this video has already taken way too long to make, so I'm not gonna. Alright, boys and girls, let's do this! Let's start off at the bottom and work our way up with the F tier. Guns I would never use in a million years, and I would literally rather punch someone to death than pick up. Up first, to no one's surprise, is the Mozambique shotgun. Now, in its defense, it can actually be downright overpowered if you happen to find the hammer point rounds, which pretty much guarantees you an instant kill on all enemies with low shields. But once everyone's had some time to grab some decent armor and stock up on shield cells, it barely does any damage and doesn't hold much ammo at all, making it pretty garbage. Similarly, the P2020 can take hammer point rounds to go from completely useless to super OP, killing no shield enemies with as little as 2 headshots. Although again, if you can't find hammer point rounds or if your enemies have any shields at all, you're not really gonna do much with this gun aside from waste light ammo. And the last gun in the F tier, some of you may hate me a little over this, is the Prowler SMG. Between what is easily the worst scope in the game and the fact that it's a burst fire weapon, the likelihood of me ever using a Prowler in any circumstance is pretty slim. And yes, I know that the select fire hop-up can change it to an automatic weapon, but even so, it barely does more damage than the P2020, and honestly, that's kinda sad. Moving up a step on the tier ladder, we have the E tier. Weapons that I'll grab if they're the first ones I come across, but I'm ditching them in an instant as soon as I find something better. Starting off the E tier is the alternator. It's a gun. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it other than that, it's just kinda there. You see, the alternator is like those Pop-Tarts they sell that don't have any frosting on them, you know? It's still a Pop-Tart. It's not bad by any means, it's just not as good as the other ones. It's just kinda meh. Up next is the RE45, probably my favorite gun in the whole E tier. Imagine the P2020 on steroids. That's pretty much the RE45 in a nutshell. It's not an ideal weapon to carry around for the entire game, but if you land in a hot zone with a couple other squads, it's a great one to pick up and snag a few easy kills right off the bat. And rounding off the E tier is the charge rifle. Look, maybe I just don't know how to use these things properly, but I really can't imagine anyone actually winning a game with this one. I'm sorry, charge rifle fans. I guess, if there are any. But I just don't get the point. Another step upward, and we're at the D tier, which of course stands for DANG! That's pretty okay, I guess. Just like with the E tier, I definitely keep an eye out for something better while I'm carrying one of these, but I'd also feel more confident approaching enemies or searching for loot in the meantime. I mentioned before that I'm not really into burst fire weapons at all, but due to its relatively high damage and decent default scope, the Hemlock is pretty okay with me. Actually, it's not even necessarily a burst fire weapon. Even without a select fire hop-up, it can instantly switch to a single fire and be used as a crude sniper rifle of sorts. So in my opinion, it's at least worth picking up. Next up, the L-Star. Admittedly, the lack of magazine is a pretty cool concept. There's no finite amount of bullets you can load in at a time, but there is a cooldown mechanic to stop you from just spraying bullets everywhere. I would probably put it in a higher tier list, but honestly, it looks kinda dumb, so I don't like it. I know, it's not a very good reason, but I mean, come on, if Respawn wants me to pay actual money in order to get cooler looking weapons, they're basically confirming that a weapon's looks are super important to the game. So my shallow thinking and anti-ugly bias is justified. This next one is actually two guns, since I can barely tell them apart, the R301 and the R99. They're pretty much the exact same weapon. Same attachments, same ammo type, same firing speed. The only noticeable difference is that this one, I'm not going to be bothered to learn the names, can switch to single fire mode, and this one has a cooler default scope. Either way, they both belong in the D tier for being just powerful enough that I might use them if I needed to, but not too powerful that I wouldn't swap them out for something better if I got the chance. And for the final weapon in the D category, we have the Sentinel, which, after doing some testing in the firing range, is apparently a lot worse than I originally thought. The main appeal of this weapon is its disruptor rounds, which you can activate by charging up the Sentinel whenever you like at the cost of 2 shield cells. Once it's done charging, you'll have 90 seconds worth of supercharged disruptor bullets which completely destroy an opponent's shields the instant they make contact, regardless of their current armor level. At first glance, this seems like a pretty fair trade-off given the abundance of shield cells around the map, until you realize 2 hits from an uncharged Sentinel will destroy any opponent's shields anyway, making this ability pretty dang useless. I'm gonna be honest here, guys, the C tier is just a tier for all the golden weapons you can only find in supply drops, since I haven't really played with them enough to know whether they're good or not. Think of this as a bonus tier, if you will. Are they really powerful? Yeah. But there's no way to pick up any ammo for them at all, so I usually just leave them be and stick with the weapon I can actually reload. They're too overpowered for me to rank them any lower, but they're also too useless for me to rank them any higher, so for now I'm just gonna stick them in the middle tier and leave it at that. Anyway, bonus round over, back to the regular tier list. Aw yeah, the B tier. Now we're getting to the good ones. Don't get me wrong, I'd obviously rather pick up an A tier or S tier weapon over one of these, but if I manage to find a B tier first, I'm probably not going to worry too much about searching for a better one. Starting off the B movie tier is the longbow sniper rifle. Sure, it does deal the lowest damage out of all the snipers, and sure, its default scope is less than satisfactory, but it does accept skull piercer rifling, which grants you a 2.5 times headshot multiplier. I mean, it doesn't help me much since I miss pretty much every single shot, but it's still pretty cool. Speaking of the skull piercer hop-up, let's talk about the only other weapon in the game that can use it, the wingman, aka the murder pistol. If you're decent with headshots, do yourself a favor and grab one of these. Even with no attachments whatsoever, it's gonna take you a mere 3 shots to the head to down an enemy wearing level 3 shields. And with the aforementioned skull piercer rifling, an entire squad can be wiped with no more than 6 well-placed headshots. That's pretty OP. And rounding off the B tier is the EVA 8 shotgun, which I would definitely put a little higher on the list if it yielded more consistent results. Sometimes I can down an entire squad with nothing but an empty EVA 8, and other times it's decked out with a double tap hop-up and a digital threat and barely does any damage at all. All in all though, I think I've had more good times with this gun than bad, so I'm gonna go ahead and place it firmly, yeah, kind of firmly, in the B tier. We're getting pretty high now with the A tier. It stands for a really good, cause, you know, the guns in this tier are really good, what can I say? I won't turn down a B tier gun if I happen across it, but the A tiers are, as the Germans say, ziemlich episch, so I'm obviously gonna grab those first when I can. First up on the A team is the Spitfire LMG. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but it kills a lot of people really quickly. Which, in a battle royale game, is definitely what you want. Not really sure what else I can say besides that. In all honesty, I mostly just like it because it makes me feel like Rambo whenever I mow people down. Sticking with the topic of heavy ammo weapons, next on the list is the VK-47 Flatline, which can not only scope between auto and single fire on the fly, but also accepts the 2 to 4 times variable scope, This one, in case you didn't know, making it a sort of half machine gun, half sniper hybrid. Due to its efficiency in both picking off faraway enemies and steadily defending against nearby ones, there's very few situations in which this one isn't incredibly useful, so naturally it's going in the A tier. The only shotgun I haven't touched on yet is the Mastiff, and while it can accept hammer point rounds like the Mozambique or a double tap trigger like the EVA 8, it can deal an astonishing 104 damage if you use it right, so I think its placement on the A tier is at least somewhat justified. Next up, the triple take sniper, which deals the highest damage out of all the shotgun rifles, as well as splits into 3 shotgun-esque bullets on fire, perfect for picking off moving targets. Obviously, this kind of bullet spread comes at the cost of headshot accuracy as well as overall damage, but thankfully the take also accepts the precision choke hop-up to completely eliminate the bullet spread if you prefer it that way. And last but certainly not least, that's why it's in the A tier, the G7 Scout. For some reason, this one is labeled as an assault rifle, even though it's pretty obvious that it's a sniper. Not sure who messed that up, but between its quick firing capabilities and high ammo capacity, I can't help but pick it up pretty much every time I find one. I will have to knock off a few points for having what is probably the worst sniper scope imaginable, but even so, I've still managed to snag quite a few kills with one of these, so in my opinion, its placement in the A tier is pretty solid. Now, if you've been paying attention this whole time and you know your Apex trivia well enough, you may have noticed that so far I've covered every single gun in the entire game except for one. Cause there's one gun that, in my humble, though frankly terrible opinion, is so much better than any other that it deserves a spot at the very top all to itself. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Havoc Assault Rifle! Yeah, I know a whole lot of people would probably disagree with me on this one, but I will not apologize for liking this gun as much as I do. Yes, it takes a second to charge up before firing. Yes, it's got some pretty terrible recoil, even with a level 3 standard stock. And yes, it has the worst legendary skins in the entire game. But you know what it also has? Mega OP, that's what. Part of what makes the Havoc so overpowered is the select fire hop-up, which allows it to fire a single high-power bullet more like a sniper rifle than a machine gun. And since it's an energy weapon, its bullets are unaffected by gravity, which in some cases makes it even better than a sniper for picking off distant targets. I'm kind of upset that Respawn removed the turbocharger rounds in Season 4, although if I'm being honest, I completely understand why they did. For those who don't know, the turbocharger rounds were a hop-up for both the Havoc and the Devotion, which completely eliminated charge time for both weapons, ergo making them genuinely overpowered and in serious need of a nerf. But even after the Havoc's biggest setback ability-wise, it's still pretty stinkin' sweet and is probably responsible for at least 70% of my total kills in this game. And that's the last of them, every single weapon in Apex Legends ranked. For now. Season 6 is coming out this month, and they're probably going to be adding a new one, therefore making this entire list completely outdated, but as I mentioned before, my opinions on this list have already shifted so wildly that it's pretty much outdated already. Look, I don't even know what game you're talking about, but I'm pretty sure your opinions are like the worst in the world. Honestly, you're not wrong. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye, faithful members of the Yesh Army! Wait! I sense something. What? I feel like something around here is calling out to me. Well, that doesn't sound creepy at all. Wait, Drake, where are you going? Holy, dude, you gotta come see this. I'm wet now. Whoa, what the? Ta-da! Bloodstone here, bloodstone there, bloodstone everywhere, man! Well, what is this, a hidden passage to the top of the mountain? I guess so. Wait. Something's wrong. Huh? What do you mean? This isn't bloodstone. It's red, it's a stone, what else do you want? It's rubrium. I guess that's how I was able to detect all this stuff, because of my natural connection to it. Wait, so Mount Bloodstone is really Mount Rubrium? Wait, but that means the giant chunk of bloodstone at the top is actually... We gotta go get that stone.